In July 1826, the Belfast Newsletter carried an unusual court report from the Newry Assizes. It was the story of Patrick Hand, a petty thief whose attempt to steal a few shillings from a local man spiraled into a spectacle of sectarian posturing and a dramatic courtroom reckoning. What makes the episode particularly striking was Hand's rather pathetic attempt to cloak himself in the political and religious identity of the Orange Order in the hope of avoiding punishment, only to be met with a judge who refused to be manipulated. The case began when Lawrence McSherry, a resident of Newry, felt a sudden crush against a cart while going about his business. In that moment of distraction, he sensed a hand inside his pocket. Turning quickly, he caught a glimpse of the culprit, Patrick Hand, who retreated hastily and dropped the stolen money, 4 shillings and 10 pence. McSherry pursued and seized him with the help of bystanders. What might have been a straightforward theft soon turned into a performance. As Hand was apprehended, he began shouting loudly to the crowd, "Boys, I'm a decent man and an orange man. There's a crew of rebel boys of ribbonmen abusing me. I'm one of Werner's men," he cried. Colonel William Werner was a well-known Orangeman and former British Army officer. He commanded enormous loyalty among Orangemen. By claiming affiliation with him, Hand was suggesting that his arrest was politically motivated, that he was being targeted not for stealing money, but because of his Protestant identity. Hand tried to gain the support of the crowd that had gathered around the disturbance. He shouted that the Protestant cause must be backed, again implying that supporting him was an act of religious loyalty. This attempt at rhetorical self-preservation nearly bore fruit. For a moment, some in the crowd appeared uncertain, but not everyone was willing to indulge the act. One man cut through the noise with a pointed retort, "Picking pockets is not the Protestant cause and shall not be backed." He then assisted in detaining the prisoner. A few days later, Patrick Hand appeared before the magistrate. Witnesses testified that he had already acquired a reputation for dishonesty and drunkenness. A local butcher, Francis Chartres, recalled seeing Hand beaten by townspeople on an earlier occasion because he had falsely claimed to be one of Werner's men. Hand's situation worsened when James Moore, keeper of the local prison in Newry, added that Hand had previously escaped custody only to be rearrested. The court was left with the impression not merely of a thief, but of a habitual troublemaker accustomed to manipulating sectarian loyalties for his own ends. When the testimonies were complete, the judge addressed the jury with unusual sharpness. He remarked that the prisoner's conduct was most audacious, particularly in his assumption of the cloak of religious party distinction to conceal the nefarious crime of pocket-picking. This was no small rebuke. In early 19th century Ulster, where political and religious tensions frequently spilled into public life, courts were often sensitive to displays of sectarian influence. The judge's words made it clear that there was no possibility that the law would be bent by the defendant's claims of Orange affiliation, however loudly shouted. The jury had little difficulty reaching a verdict. Patrick Hand was found guilty, but the sentence was more severe than many expected for a theft of only a few shillings. The judge ordered that Hand be transported for 7 years. It was then that the final moment of theatre unfolded. Instead of expressing remorse, Hand responded with a tone that mixed bravado with insolence. "Thank your lordship, I was abroad before," he declared. The remark was met with no humour in the courtroom. Nothing, not sectarian pleading, not public noise, not even a cynical quip would save him. The story of Patrick Hand resonates because it captures a moment when sectarian identity was being used as a political shield, not in defense of principle, but as a tool of petty criminality. Rather pathetically, Hand tried to turn the Orange Order into a refuge for a pickpocket, betting that Protestant solidarity would outweigh the facts of the case. The case stands as a small but telling reminder of the complexities of early 19th century Ulster. Identity and loyalty were constant features of everyday life, but they could not be used as tools to subvert the law. Patrick Hand's theatrics earned him nothing more than a one-way passage to Australia. If you found this story interesting, please give the video a like. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe for more Irish history brought to life every week.